Hey everyone, thanks very much for joining us today for Career Snippets. And today we've got Kaela Hindle, who's MyCareerBrand's expert on working with recruiters, interview skills, and executive coaching. And today, Kaela, I understand that you're going to be talking about how to best work with recruiters and search consultants and how they identify talent.
That's exactly right. So I think the key thing to understand when you're working with recruitment consultants is that they are not career coaches. So you have to really make sure that you're very clear on the value proposition that you offer to a potential employer. So really being aware of where your key skills lie, and your experience that has allowed you to develop those key skills, which then shapes your value proposition. Recruiters and search consultants will find job seekers much easier to work with if job seekers are able to communicate what their value proposition is and the potential value that they can add to an employer. So being clear on this in your own mind is really important, but also making sure that your key skills are identified firstly on your CV, and also on your LinkedIn profile. And I'll talk a bit more about both of those things. Your CV is really important because your CV will end up on job boards such as Seek or on applicant tracking systems, or on company career sites. And when consultants search for specific key skills, they're more likely to find your CV if your CV communicates those key skills. Likewise with LinkedIn, the way that a LinkedIn recruiter license works is that a consultant will search for key skills and will be delivered up to 1,000 profiles for them to review. So job seekers want to make sure that they sit at the top of the ranking out of those 1,000 profiles, because no recruiter is going to look at 1,000 different profiles. So if you're at the bottom of the list, you're never going to be found. What you can do to impact where you appear on those on the search ranking is make sure that your key skills are communicated frequently throughout your profile, that they appear as key skills that are attached to your profile, and that they are endorsed, ideally by people who also have these key skills endorsed. Do you want to say anything about that, Craig?
Yeah, I was just wondering, so, you were saying, about recruiters and so on, and them looking for you in ATSs. So, the applicant tracking systems, how do they actually work? I mean, in relation to CVs and so on, and do they work so that the better optimized your CV is for a particular role, the higher up your CV will float, if you like, through and land on the CV, the recruiter's desk? Is that how it works?
Yeah, pretty much. You've summarized it quite nicely there. Making sure that your CV talks to the specific role that you're applying for is really important. So as much as your CV is a historical overview of your experience, your CV should be forward-thinking or forward-looking. So you want to make sure that your CV is tailored towards the job that you want. So your CV needs to communicate the key skills that are being searched for in that role. How an applicant tracking system works typically is that, before your CV even lands in the lap of a recruiter, they will often screen out applicants based on keywords. So if your key skills, or if the key skills that the position requires are not communicated in your CV, you might not even your CV might not even make it to being reviewed by a person.
Right. So I think it's what you're saying too then is that to make sure that when you're applying for a role on Seek, that your CV is updated. Don't just click apply now. Make sure that your CV represents the job that you're applying for. And also when we look at Seek, it's got a whole lot of profiling, separate profiling to your CV around skills and so on. So to make sure that your fields and so on are all up to date as well.
Absolutely. The other point to note specifically about Seek, but I'm sure that this is definitely relevant to other job boards and company career sites too, is that the recruiter who's managing the search or who views your your profile can see how recently you've updated it. So if they look at your profile and they think that your skills are relevant, but you updated your CV a year ago, they're going to see that your CV was updated a year ago, and they're going to think that you were actively job seeking a year ago. Whereas if you have recently updated your CV and you updated it last week, they're going to assume that you are a much more active candidate and are going to be more likely to be interested in the position that they are talking to you about. So it just makes you more compelling as a job seeker.
Right. Okay. So, and you mentioned company career sites too. So I've heard anecdotally that actually placements, the majority of placements are actually made not by recruiters, but actually through networking and through talent that's identified on company career sites as well. And depending on the role, of course, and I think, we're probably talking more about executive recruitment or up to executive level recruitment. When we get into the search space, of course, it's a whole different kettle of fish. But what we're really thinking is that, that whole networking thing's important. Having your CV up to date is important, but making sure that you have an up-to-date profile on the company career site, and you're not just putting all your eggs into the recruiter basket, because whilst that might be the easy way out, get the recruiter to do the hard work, actually maybe way less of the opportunity funnel is coming from recruiters and far more potentially is coming from internal recruitment consultants within companies who are looking both at Seek and their own internal database, so the profiling that they've got on their database. Would that be right?
Definitely. I think it's really important to note that internal recruitment functions are now really quite sophisticated, and with the use of applicant tracking systems and LinkedIn recruiter licenses, they would recruit the lion's share of their roles internally without needing to go out and brief agency consultants. So what that means is that the agency consultants will typically get access to very specialized roles that are a much lower, at a much lower volume than what they may have previously worked on. So yes, don't leave, from a job seeker perspective, don't leave all your eggs in the recruiter basket. I would diversify your job seeking to include as many channels as you can, and a really important one is the company career sites. So right. Identifying organizations that you're interested in working for, that you would be passionate about, and making sure that your profile and your details are registered on those sites.
Hey, well, look, that's been really great. Thanks, Kaela. And anyone out there that's watching or listening to this recording, get in touch with Kaela Hindle at MyCareerBrand if you'd like to know anything more. And I'm sure, Kaela, that you'd be happy to help them out.
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks very much.
Thanks, Craig.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.